On November 4th, 2020, in Hartford, Connecticut, a respected investment banker died in what appeared to be a tragic car accident. 2 weeks later, his widow presented a newly updated will, leaving her nearly everything. It looked legal. It looked clean. But when the family's longtime attorney examined the signature at the bottom of the document, he noticed something so small that no one else would have questioned it. And that tiny detail unraveled a murder that had been staged as fate. The victim was Andrew Caldwell, 52 years old, senior partner at a financial advisory firm in downtown Hartford, known for precision, discipline, structure. Andrew had built a portfolio managing multi-million-dollar estates. Ironically, he believed deeply in clear documentation and long-term planning. He was married to Vanessa Caldwell, 46, former art gallery curator, charismatic, socially connected, elegant in public, strategic in private. Andrew had one son from a previous marriage, Ethan Caldwell, 23, recently graduated from college. Andrew's relationship with Ethan had improved over the years, especially after Andrew restructured his estate to ensure Ethan would inherit majority ownership in certain trusts. Vanessa, however, had never been fully comfortable with that arrangement. On November 4th, Andrew left his office at 7:42 p.m. Weather reports show light rain that evening. At 8:11 p.m., his car was found overturned along a rural stretch of Route 44. Investigators concluded he lost control on a curve. No skid marks, but wet pavement. Cause of death: blunt force trauma from collision. Accidental. Vanessa appeared devastated. The funeral was intimate but dignified. 2 weeks later, Vanessa presented a revised will dated October 30th, 5 days before Andrew's death. In this new version, Vanessa inherited 85% of Andrew's estate. Ethan's share was reduced to a conditional trust. The document was notarized, signed, witnessed, legally formatted. At first glance, nothing seemed unusual, until Andrew's longtime attorney Richard Harlow reviewed it. Richard had known Andrew for 15 years. He had seen his signature hundreds of times. Andrew's signature had one consistent trait. The final L in Caldwell always curved slightly upward. A subconscious flourish developed over decades. But in the October 30th will, the final L was straight, flat, no curve. To most eyes, insignificant. To Richard, impossible to ignore. He requested a forensic handwriting analysis. The results were inconclusive but raised concerns about pressure inconsistencies. The signature looked like Andrew's, but not written naturally. It looked copied. Then came another detail. Andrew's calendar showed no scheduled meeting with any attorney on October 30th. Vanessa claimed they drafted it privately, but Andrew never handled estate revisions casually. He documented everything. Vehicle forensic specialists re-examined Andrew's accident. They discovered something critical. The brake lines had been partially severed, not cut cleanly, but gradually weakened. The pattern suggested tampering days before the crash. Security cameras from Andrew's gated driveway showed Vanessa entering the garage alone the night of October 29th. She claimed she was retrieving art supplies. Mechanics testified that a person with basic tools could access brake lines within minutes. Then digital forensics revealed something else. On October 28th, Vanessa searched, "How long after brake fluid leak does failure occur?" She later claimed it was for a friend's car issue, but there was no record of such conversation. Meanwhile, metadata from the will document showed it was created on Vanessa's laptop, not Andrew's. And the file creation timestamp was October 31st, 1 day after the alleged signing, which meant the document backdated itself. Vanessa wasn't impulsive. She had spent years feeling secondary in Andrew's financial world. She hosted events, maintained appearances, but she didn't control capital. Andrew trusted Ethan with long-term legacy planning. Vanessa felt temporary. Insecurity doesn't always shout. Sometimes it calculates. Behavioral analysts later testified that Vanessa displayed traits of financial displacement anxiety, a fear of being excluded from power structures despite proximity. The will wasn't emotional revenge, it was repositioning. But she underestimated Andrew's habits. She underestimated his signature. She underestimated Richard Harlow's memory. Most of all, she underestimated metadata. When confronted with forensic findings, Vanessa initially denied everything. She claimed Andrew had asked her to type the will, but she couldn't explain the backdated metadata. She couldn't explain the brake tampering evidence. She couldn't explain why Andrew's phone location data placed him at the office late on October 30th, not home signing documents. Under pressure, her narrative fractured. She admitted to drafting the will herself, but insisted the crash was accidental. However, mechanical experts testified that brake failure was inevitable once tampered. The jury listened carefully. The prosecution described the case as a crime of insecurity disguised as inevitability. They argued Vanessa didn't push Andrew off the road. She simply removed his ability to stop. The defense attempted to introduce reasonable doubt. Rain, dark road, coincidence. But search history, garage footage, signature inconsistency, metadata, brake analysis. The story aligned too clearly. After 11 hours of deliberation, the verdict was delivered. Guilty of first-degree murder and fraud. At sentencing, Ethan spoke quietly. My father trusted systems. He believed documentation protects truth. He was right. Vanessa tried to control the inheritance. Instead, she erased herself from it entirely. Because karma doesn't care about elegance. It doesn't care about appearances. It hides in small habits, like the way a man curves the final letter of his name. Vanessa thought she could copy a signature. She didn't realize she couldn't copy instinct. In the end, the smallest curve became the straightest path to prison. If this case made you realize how tiny details can expose even the most carefully staged crimes, subscribe to The Hidden Truth. Because sometimes justice isn't loud, it's observant.